Hello everybody, we're just going to do a quick video. Hydreight has earnings in a few days on the 13th of Thursday. 13th of November on Thursday, sorry about that. So we've basically we just got 3 days. I don't know if they report in the mornings or the evening. I can check on that, but either way, I think it's going to be pretty interesting. First video I made, I was talking about the zigzag pattern going up to this, basically going up to $3.50. And since that point, we've basically been consolidating, but it's getting a lot tighter right around this point. And today, they pushed against their last all-time high at 380 or 91. They broke above it, went back down, got knocked down, then almost went to $4 and then immediately knocked down. But the volume on this is absolutely insane. 10,000 shares basically moved the stock almost 15%. That's 15% on 10,000 shares. Compare that to something like Google, where you've got millions of shares being bought and sold. We're looking at, 2 million and 5 million shares at like $290. That's just wild. After this initial price action of pushing it up, we just kind of had a flat day, not too much going on. We did have a big move right here at 6,000. It's probably like half buying, half selling because not a big price movement. But after this point right here, we basically had, less than 10,000 shares for the entire day after 9:45. That's like 30 grand. That's like $30,000 being traded for the entire day. And this stock has earnings in 3 days, and I'm very curious to see what happens. The last quarter was the first time they became cash flow positive, I believe. So they are really starting to ramp up profitability, income, free cash flow, and they're plugging all of their money back into the business. A lot of stuff going on with healthcare and the government too, as far as stuff being changed, the Affordable Care Act. I know that companies like Oscar, where are you? Oscar got railed today because of concerns about the Affordable Care Act and how insurance is working. But yeah, so they have been kind of on a wild ride. This is actually a pretty good stock to trade, although I'm not trading it because I'm kind of dumb, I guess. But yeah, 12 to 23 down to 14. So now would be a good time to buy it and then just sell it when it goes up 50%. Not a bad idea. There's two other companies that are having earnings on Thursday in addition to Hydreight. Oh, where are you? Bag speculation. There we are. So where are we at? Highline. So these guys, as you can see, have a lot more shares being traded. I have no idea what's going on with Hydreight. I have no idea how I found them because they're so small. But this a guy's video popped up in my feed and was going over Hydreight, and they're an energy play. They basically provide generators that are more efficient than using grid power. So basically, they have a new technology where their generators can use multiple different kinds of energy, like natural gas. They can use gasoline, probably hydrogen or other fuels. I don't even know what all the fuels they can use are, but it's something around the lines of they can use up to 20 different fuels, and they have a very I don't understand their technology terribly well. I have to watch the guy's video to explain it, or it's probably better to have him explain it because he's an engineer. But it was very compelling, and the reason it was interesting is because I don't have Oklo anymore. I've been watching it, but Oklo and a lot of the nuclear stocks, the nanonuclear stocks, are in the pipeline because all these data centers are needing energy, and the grid is very expensive to hook up into or transport power across. So they're looking at basically power generation at the source. And that's something that Highline can do very well. And the fact that they can actually provide power through their generators at location and have it be cheaper than grid power, even if it's by like 20 or 30%, is pretty impressive. You still got to transport fuel and whatnot, but they're very efficient generators. So these people are having earnings reports in the next 3 days, on Thursday as well. What's the other one? Solana Holdings, SLNH. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, these guys have been on a wild ride too. If you got in at the 40 cents or down here at $1, you're pretty happy no matter what. But yeah, if you got in here, sad you didn't sell up here, and if you got in here, you're sad that you got in, period. But there's a lot of scattershot stuff going on with these data center plays. Some of the bigger, more established ones like Applied Digital or Nebius and Iren, those have gone up quite a bit, although Nebius and Iren were down today. But you got Bitfarms, you've got TerraWolf, which has a partnership with Google. You've got Applied Digital. You got Navitas, which is a company that should be making they have a technology that improves energy efficiency, decreasing the amount of energy that semiconductors or chips will use and data centers will use, but also reducing the need for cooling because they won't generate as much heat. So you got a lot of these plays going on. Solana is one of them. They're one of the, I don't know if they're a Bitcoin miner turned this or if they're something else, but they're another small company trying to trying to join the market for the data center stuff. They're happening in a few days. I don't know much about them either. I've been kind of watching them. I have a small position. I got in around like $1.50. I didn't buy a big amount. I just wanted to see what was going to happen. And they're up a little bit, but we'll just have to see. All of these people are dependent on deals from hyperscalers. I forget who Iren had a deal with. I think it was Microsoft. Yeah, like a $10 billion deal with Microsoft over 5 years, $2 billion up front. So they're going to be doing pretty well. And I know from their earnings call they had a bunch of deals lined up that they couldn't be specific about, but that's what they said. So Solana, Hylian, I'm not sure how that's to pronounce it, Hylian Holding Corp. So this is an energy play. Solana is the data center, and then Hydreight is the healthcare in-home services play, which I don't know if I'll ever find another stock that I can actually buy in my brokerage that has this low a volume. This company is ridiculously small, has ridiculously low volume, low coverage. Again, I don't have a price target. I don't know how high they're going to go, but if you got and I guess I can't give anyone financial advice. It's something I've learned. You can't tell anyone what to do, but what I was doing is I bought 1,000 shares of it when it was pretty damn low. I just sat on it, and then as I watched their earnings and learned more about the company, I averaged up once around the $2. I averaged up around the $3, and we're just kind of waiting for another breakout. This is one of my biggest positions. Maybe I'm an idiot. But they've been on a pretty good uptrend for a while. It's been very choppy for a couple weeks. Good, looks like there's good momentum, then a little bit of a pullback, good momentum, a little bit of pullback, but they're not going down. They're not really going up, but today they really tried. It almost got to $4. So yeah, I'm excited about these guys this week. I actually don't know how to live stream, and even if I did, I don't think I have any subscribers. So that's yeah. But we will have to see. I don't think everyone else is covering a bunch of other stocks. I'm gonna do a little updates on the smaller, crappy stocks that people don't seem to care about or know about. So that's what we're gonna do. This is another one right here. New AI. These guys apparently farm helium or find ways to get helium out of the ground. I've been in them for a while. When in their initial pop, I got my alerts right around like this point, so I didn't buy a ton. I think I bought like 500 shares because, again, I'm not fabulously wealthy. But I don't know, up about 100% on that, which is nice. That's enough to go to Vegas for one day. It's not too bad. And I actually just recently got into Honest. I've been following it for a while. You know, some people that watch investment stuff watch Jeremy. And I actually bought it right around here. On the day that it dipped, I was looking at their numbers, looking at their price, I knew about the company for a long time. I knew a fair amount about it, and I was like, all right, I'll bite here. It is pretty damn low. It may not do anything for 6 months or a year. It may go to zero. Who the hell knows? But it is pretty damn cheap right now. Well, actually, it isn't. It's forward price to earnings. It's kind of crappy, but we have been in a difficult stretch for consumers, and they are a consumer company for sure. So we will have to see. But besides that, don't have a lot of other things to go over. I figure out how to actually do a streaming thing. I may do streaming for Hydreight's earnings. I am excited to see if they actually get significant volume. I know there's a channel I watch, and they have some big investors, and every once in a while some guy will send a screenshot to the guy that runs it, and he's like, "Oh, this guy, look, he bought 1 million shares of this stock, or put $1 million into this stock." And yeah, I think if that happened with Hydreight, somebody put $1 million into this. I don't know if they could at once. I don't think the liquidity is there. I actually don't think there's enough shares that are being sold at any given moment to supply that kind of. I wonder, I don't actually know if what's their float? It doesn't say what shares are out. 176 million divided by 3 point. This might be. So this says they got a market cap of that. Doesn't say how many shares they have out, but if we do 176 930 123 176 million divided by 3.75 47 million. Okay. Anyway, I don't know. I forget what I was talking about. I guess somebody put $1 million into this. I guess there is a lot of shares out. I don't know how much is owned or actually on the market to be traded or whatnot, but the fact that we had about 10,000 shares in volume, and in that little time span right there, it wasn't 10,000 that moved it all the way up. It was 10,000 that not only moved it up but then brought it back down. So, man, I swear to God, if the stock gets any attention, it's just going to be wild. Because the business is very good. The core business is good. It has good earnings growth. It's one of those like 30% quarterly growth, 30% annual growth stories right now. They don't make their own AI, I don't think, but they are incorporating AI services. Ah, man. Anybody with a channel that actually gets any attention talked about it. And they had just 1,000 people watch, and then just 100 of those people were like, I'll just buy 1,000 shares just to speculate on it. That's like 100,000 shares. And on most stocks, that doesn't do anything. You got Rocket Lab, what is this, millions? Yeah, but 100,000 shares being bought for this thing, nobody gives a crap. Nothing's going to happen with it. Fiji, couple million. SoFi, millions. Thousands. Yeah, that one might do something. But most stocks, you got millions of stuff moving. Yeah. And but man, Hydreight, there's just no volume. I am always blown away every time I look at it. And this is actually more volume than typical. Most of the time, when I've looked at the volume in the past, during the first few months when I was looking at this thing, there was like no volume happening. I don't even know what this thing right here is. Is that 60,000 shares today? We got 10,000, 5, that's 20, 26, 30. Yeah, no, I don't believe it's close to that. That's got to be closer to 40. Yeah, I'd believe 40, 45,000. 300,000 shares. See, I don't remember that. I feel like I would remember it being that high. Maybe the chart's not exactly accurate. Maybe this chart isn't exactly accurate. I don't know. But all right, I'll stop rambling. But I think this stock is definitely poised for a move and a breakout. We've got the nice consolidation zigzag pattern going up. We got sideways consolidation with not breaking down low, then getting back to the 3, breaking down a bit, getting back to the 3. Then we're basically right around the average of 350. And then now it's trying to make the next move out right before earnings. If they report any kind of positive earnings, we'll be doing good. We'll be doing good stuff. So, all right, guys, I'll end it there, and we'll figure out what we're doing later.